we're back, ladies and gentlemen, for the final topic of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Man, I fucked up.
You did fuck up.
I thought we were good. I thought that we had way more time than we did.
They got here a little late, and we got to respect their schedules as well. So we got 50 good minutes in. But I feel like the podcast wouldn't be long enough without a fourth topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had to do that. Mm-hmm. We need the fourth. Mm-hmm. We owe them the fourth. So
we do.
I went over to the Kind of Funny forums over at kindoffunny.com/forums. Looked at the Gamecast topic for topic suggestions. If you have them, please go there. Leave some. We'll get to them next week or the week after or some week in the following future. But gathered a whole bunch of your questions together. We're going to go through them. Not so Xbox related.
Okay.
So this Xbox topic is now...
I wouldn't be able to speak to that too authoritatively.
Just a normal topic.
Cool. Fantastic.
All right. Getting into this. Daniel Adultman. Let me tell you, I'm loving these names. Like,
yeah, that's a good one.
Recently, I've been seeing a lot of good usernames. So shout out to you, Daniel Adultman. Hey guys, Halloween is near, and it got me thinking about what my favorite horror games are. So what are your favorite horror games? This is interesting because this topic, if you're watching on YouTube, will be going live the day before Halloween.
Oh.
So Hallows Eve, which is some bullshit that
I told you all.
Long Island motherfuckers be
It wasn't a
saying
Long Island. It wasn't a Long Island. It was when I lived in New England, and I told you. And my favorite thing about that, by the way, on Game Over Greggy's show, I think it was all the responses of everyone telling me that, once again, I was right.
Yeah.
And I know that it's hard for everyone to imagine how,
it was actually
how can a man be right
Twitter
so much?
Thing. It was a Twitter thing.
Okay.
Where me and you were
That's what it was.
talking.
Yeah.
You tried telling me that the Halloween Eve is a thing. And I'm like, you're what?
I'm telling you that when I lived in Maine.
And then I tweeted about it and I get all these people screaming at me and I'm like, oh man, like they smell like Long Island people. I get this. And then someone posts a picture of the United States like color heat breakdown of who the fuck gives a shit about this bullshit ass day. And it's literally just like this small little section over in your East Coast glass
real
palace.
America. Favorite horror game. My favorite horror game is Dead Space.
Yes.
Although, how do we define this word too? Because is BioShock a horror game? Because to me, that's one of my favorite games of all time. Mm-hmm. And then I'm a huge fan of the old Resident Evil games, and Resident Evil 4 I think is the epitome of that as well. More recent games, Outlast I think would probably be my favorite horror game of the last few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. This week, as you guys have probably seen, if you listen to us on Patreon, a little hint at the future is going to be a whole bunch of horror Let's Plays by yours truly. Half of them with Colin, half of them with Nick. They're pretty good. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff. Until Dawn, PT, Slender, and Outlast. So they've been pretty cool. I'm excited to see the reaction to them. I have to give a shout out to Fatal Frame. Specifically Fatal Frame 2.
Okay.
On the PS2. That game scared the shit out of me. And it was a very creepy game. And something about the PlayStation 2's inability for realism, like even when it's trying for it, made everything that much creepier.
A little unsettling. Yeah, I can respect that. The new Fatal Frame just came out, I think, on Wii U.
On the Wii U.
I don't think anyone liked it, but
yeah, I heard it was okay, but people are upset about censorship stuff.
Oh, they censored it. Is that what everyone was upset about? Because I saw there was a lot of
people get mad about
upsetness.
Stuff. Yeah, which that's a whole other topic.
Yeah,
it is something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of horror games that are definitely... I love Slender. The Arrival, the first time I played it was for this Let's Play. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the original Slender demo thing, the 8 pages that they did, because that game is fucking scary. And I enjoy it because a lot of these scary games you play and it's like you expect to get scared all the time, but it takes... Outlast takes a good 30 minutes of playing before a scare happens.
Right.
The original Slender... scares happen within the first 5 minutes.
And I do think I want to give a shout out to Outlast specifically because of the mechanic. I think mechanics can contribute a lot to what makes a game scary. So I think that the lack of solid control in old Resident Evil games was almost one of the things that made them scary because you couldn't reliably get away from them. Although that's an excuse because that wasn't the intent of the bad controls. That's just a byproduct of them. But Outlast's camera, I think is a really super clever mechanic, managing your batteries and stuff like that. I think it's just a really neat mechanic. Dead Space's mechanic Dead Space's really presentation is what made it stand out. And the Ishimura, going back and forth to rooms you've already been to and looking for slight discrepancies or things or new blood and all that. I think the original Dead Space is really a masterpiece. I actually think that game is I would even go as far as to say is underrated as far as I feel like horror games is concerned.
Fairly rated in terms of horror. I guess that's true.
They ruined. It's funny because EA and Visceral jumped off a cliff way sooner than I thought they were going to with that series, as opposed to it took a little while for Capcom to ruin Resident Evil, but they ruined Dead Space pretty quickly.
They did,
which was unfortunate to watch.
Yeah. Jake LL wants to know what we think about Guitar Hero Live. So
I've not played it, so this is all you.
I've played a couple hours of it, and so far I'm in love with it. It reminds me of everything that I liked about Guitar Hero back in the day, and Rock Band, and all that other stuff when it was fresh and new. And having not played these, peripheral games in a couple of years, going back to Rock Band, it's like, it as fun as it is, and it definitely is fun. I had a lot of fun with Rock Band when I played it. All the bullshit and all the things that don't work and all the little seconds of like, why is this taking so long to load this thing? Why can't I find this song? Like all the questions that I have get in the way of it. And then once I play it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. And there's something about the fact that we've played these songs all before, and it's like we're just doing it again. It's cool. It's like, oh, it's been a while, but it's like, all right, there's a little too much available to me. It's not tailored to give me an experience anymore. It's just kind of like, it's like the difference between when you're talking about music, listening to an album and just turning on the radio and just having a bunch of shit there,
Right.
and or not even the radio, like iTunes, and just buying stuff willy-nilly and like downloading shit. Whereas Guitar Hero Live reminds me of what I loved so much about the early Guitar Hero games and the early Rock Band games, which was it's a music discovery platform. And it's also a new experience for me with the new guitar, where when I'm playing it, I feel like, fuck, I don't know how to do this. I keep fucking up. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm not fucking this up. I can do this. And I remember when I first played the original Guitar Hero, the difference between, all right, my fingers are on the first four, adding that fifth button and having to slide your finger, that was like a step that you had to overcome in your head. And with this Guitar Hero, with the new one, I've already experienced multiple steps in learning how to do it, and it's fun and it's awesome. The presentation's really cool. I love the tutorials. They just throw you into being in a concert, doing the live thing, and you don't even get to choose the songs. It's just 3 songs back to back that they assign. It's kind of like just a predestined thing. And I liked it because unlike Rock Band, where it's like, all right, you have a bad set list, I'm just going to download the things that I like, and you just play those things. This reminds me of what I loved about the old ones, where it's like, I don't know these songs. These are fun to play. They chose these. They want me to play these songs. There is a thought and an order to this set list. Right. I'm growing and learning with this game, and I'm learning about new music. And it's like, that to me is Guitar Hero. That's what makes it good. The biggest problem with Guitar Hero, I'm not going to dedicate the time to learn it and to have it be the party game that I think they want it to be.
Yeah, and it's almost like, in that respect, it reminds me of a sports game or a really popular shooter, where it's a game that you learn and you play and you play and you play. Because it's even more than that, because of the financial investment of getting these games being not comparable to a normal $60 game, because they're not. I mean, Rock Band especially is just really expensive. It's funny because I was really of the mind that it was time for these games to come back, and now I'm of the mind that I might have been wrong, and that maybe not wrong for some people that are enjoying them. There's always going to be people that enjoy these games, but I'm really interested to see how these games do, especially Rock Band, which a lot of people seem to be down about, and I don't know. I'm not even really interested in playing Guitar Hero, even though I appreciate kind of the differences of the game compared to Rock Band, which I think is very static and stagnant compared to the other ones. Although I will say that my patience for bullshit is also becoming lower as I get older too. So like the syncing of the controllers, we had a lot of problems with that, or the instruments. It reminds me, I was playing Oregon Trail yesterday on Vita, and the controls are just so atrocious when you're shooting in that game. I'm like, I don't have I have no time for excuses and all these kinds of things. Like I'm moving on now. I gotta play something different. So, It's one of those things where these games are such a significant investment that I hope people are really going to get the bang for their buck ultimately, because I don't feel like they're getting the bang for their buck out of the box, especially with the set list of these games.
Yeah, I mean, Guitar Hero set list I love, and the fact that the set list on the box is not even representative at all of what the game really has because of the
I think that might be
thing.
all I've seen. So yeah.
So there's Guitar Hero Live, which is like you play and whatever. Then there's Guitar Hero TV, which is kind of this music streaming service where at any time you go on, there's a different set of songs that you get to play for free. And it's like curated playlists and stuff. And like, it's just, the set list is awesome. It's fucking awesome. So that it's going to be exciting to see how this all shakes out. I don't think it's going to shake out well. I don't think that these games are going to, be the huge hits that they used to be, or that maybe people expect them or want them to be now. But this is the Guitar Hero I wanted. Like, they made the perfect Guitar Hero for people that want just to get better at learning the game and being good at it. This isn't a party game. This isn't like all that stuff like Rock Band. This is not that.
Yeah, at least it's certainly drawing a comparison to its competitor, so you don't get two of the same games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even wondering about critical reception, which has been I would say lukewarm, but still good for both games. I'm even wondering if these games are gonna be profitable.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like it's going to be interesting to see how people like kind of recept it, especially Guitar Hero. I think because Rock Band is at this point a thing people accept. Guitar Hero is definitely a step in a different direction, and a lot of people are upset about the microtransactions. Have you heard about how Guitar Hero is doing this?
I saw people upset about it, but I don't know the
so people are really mad about it. It's a new style of microtransactions where you can't own the downloadable content for Guitar Hero. You can't just pay $1 and have the songs. You pay for like play tokens, and your token can choose. You can play the song. Then there's things where it's like you can buy like 24-hour party passes. Where it's like $6 or whatever it is.
I wonder why that is.
I think it's totally like a licensing thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like a licensing thing.
And like this is it's upsetting, but you get the play tokens by playing the game.
So you don't have to buy them.
So you don't have to buy them. And like I'm unlocking these things left and right where I'm like, this is kind of cool. And constantly, because of Guitar Hero TV, you don't get to choose the songs you play. If you want to choose, you need to pay or use a token that you can gain in game. But there's always playlists that are free. So there's always samples of different songs. Every time you turn it on, it's a different set of songs you get to try out for free.
No, I like that. It sounds... My thing with microtransactions is as long as it's not too egregious, and it doesn't sound it's egregious here since you can earn them organically in the game. And it's a single-player game, so you're not breaking it for anyone else. It's like, what does it really matter at that point? I mean, it's kind of complaining about nothing almost.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, though, because I think people are going to be mad and upset that they
people
can't
are mad and upset about everything.
The song.
That I understand why people would be upset about, but that does sound like classic licensing issues where it's they could not negotiate in perpetuity these.
Well, the other big thing is Guitar Hero TV has music videos playing in the background, like the actual music videos.
That's
so
cool.
I think
I heard that.
Another level of licensing,
legalese and complications.
It's complicated. Yeah. We'll see how it all shakes out. Onificate says the Rise of the Tomb Raider is a timed exclusive for the Xbox One and won't be released for PlayStation 4 until fall 2016. My question is, what are your opinions on timed exclusive deals like that? Are they sound business deals, immoral, or somewhere in between?
What was the second one? A moral?
Yeah.
It's nothing moral or immoral about business. Is it a sound decision? Probably. It bolsters Microsoft's, in this case, Microsoft's exclusive portfolio. I'm sure that there was an exchange of money. There's no doubt about that. I don't see why Square Enix, which is the publisher, would really want to limit the reach of the game, especially watching what happened with a game like Titanfall, for instance, which would have done much better had it been multi-platform. But these deals are made a long time ago. Again, as I've said in the past with Titanfall, if EA knew what was going to happen with Xbox One early on, I'm sure they wouldn't have made that deal. And who knows what Square would have done. But again, the infusion of capital from the first party might make these games possible or make them break even without even having to sell a game. So there's all these business ramifications. How do I feel about them? I think it's fine. The gaming is a competitive marketplace, and these things do matter, and they do work. People that are big fans of Tomb Raider will not want to wait a year, and if they don't own an Xbox, they're going to buy one. So it makes sense. I don't think, is there morality in business and immorality in business? Sure there is, but this is not an example of immorality in business. Immorality in business is, betting against mortgages that you own and hoping they fail or something like that. That's immoral. But economics, the market will dictate whether these things work or not, and time again, these timed exclusives do work.
Yeah. Flea Dog wants to know what our favorite gaming peripheral of all time is.
I don't know. I remember getting Super Scope 6 when I was a kid for Christmas, and I really just wanted it to play with it outside.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I did. I just had like a cool little bazooka that I can like shoot fake enemies with. I don't know. I mean, like I like the NES Zapper. It was use is very limited, like 2 games. But generally, I don't really care much for peripherals at all. So the answer is like none. I'm fine with a controller. I want a controller. I want to play games with a controller. I want gimmicks.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the Guitar Hero controller definitely, specifically the Guitar Hero.
I guess those work. Yeah,
3 controller. Man, I fucking loved that thing. But besides that, I gotta give a shout out to the transfer pack that came with Pokemon Stadium, so that you could, hook your Pokemon Game Boy game up and use your Pokemon in the system, which was like fucking mind blowing. And it also had a mode where you could play Pokemon on the TV, which was super fucking cool. Another shout out, the Super Game Boy.
Oh, Yeah, Super Game Boy for SNES, and I was gonna say Game Boy Player as well for GameCube was really cool. Those I wouldn't really consider peripherals.
Yeah, the transfer pack I'd say is more of a peripheral.
Yeah.
But that was great. And I mean, the Rumble pack, now is nothing.
It was very novel back then.
First playing it with Star Fox was like, holy shit.
The Rumble was novel and copied, much copied. Yeah, there were some good ones that added, and some ones like the expansion pack on N64. I was like, this is such bullshit. But it is a good idea. I'm surprised that it's a good idea in that you can do more with the game and let your developers figure out ways to extract more out of a system that doesn't have the horsepower it did at the start. I'm surprised actually that PS4 and Xbox One are both so closed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that there's no way to expand them because it would make them live longer, but that's also complicated.
Final question of the day. Craig the Human asks, when do you think we'll see redesigns of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4?
Yeah, this is a common question. I don't know that you're going to see them quickly, but you have to remember that the redesign of PS3, let's see, 6 or 7, 8, 9. So it took like 3 years for the PS3 to redesign. We're probably going to be in the same place for PS4. They don't redesign them just to redesign them. They redesign the consoles typically to make them cheaper to manufacture, and then they can drop the price or they can keep them static if they want. But it's mostly to like when you look at PS3, the way it started, and then PS3 Slim, and then the third PS3 Slim. The third PS3, like the form and grill one, is like a third or a fourth of the size of the original PS3. It's all about like getting everything down and compiling it into as little as possible to save money. If PS4s are being already sold, hand over fist, and they're already making a profit off of them, then it might not be worth the R&D to make them. Imperative might not be on them to do that unless they can shave more money off. But since they just dropped the price of the PS4 as it is now, I will not expect to see a new PS4 until they're ready to drop the price again. And I don't think that's going to happen until next year or the year after.
I think another thing there too is the fact that they use the new versions to kind of promote, to get another spike in system sales. And with Uncharted 4 coming out, I don't think they need any other reasons to have a spike. Like that is gonna sell systems and that type of stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
I do think though that depending on what Nintendo does with the NX and announcing that at E3, I think that could somehow influence both sides, Xbox and PlayStation, to have redesigned things just to kind of steal the thunder a little bit from Nintendo. If they do announce a system, if they do announce a system that's more powerful.
Yeah, I mean, the rumor is that it'll be at least as powerful. I don't think it'll be more powerful. That would be really awesome if it was. That would be really extraordinary. But I think actually I find the Xbox One personally to be quite inelegant. It's fucking massive. It's heavy. The brick is not even inside of it. I don't understand how these two somewhat comparable consoles in terms of power. One is like got everything inside, including the power, and is half the size of the other one that's heavier in it. So I think that I want to see what the Microsoft engineers, being very smart people, what they can do to make that thing smaller and lighter and get that brick inside the system so you don't have this freaking massive thing singing outside your TV. I think that you'll see a redesigned Xbox One before you see a redesigned PS4.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Kind of Funny Gamescast. That topic brought to you by Loot Crate. Would you classify yourself as a geek, gamer, or pop culture nerd? Then this is the subscription box for you. For less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items of gamer and pop culture licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on any new subscription. Every month, there's a different theme, and all items are curated around that theme. Basically, Loot Crate's like a friend who knows what you love and surprises you with an awesome present every month. You have until the 19th at 9 a.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. So go to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. Colin.
Tim.
Thank you very much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. And Cisco, I love you.
We love you, Cisco.
And I love everyone else out there. Did you see this?
Well, I've seen him tweeting out lately.
Recently, he tweeted at me and he was just like, how come you didn't say I love you?
Oh.
I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, your sign off on Gamescast. I'm like, I didn't even realize that was like a thing. And a whole bunch of people responded like, yeah, I don't feel loved.
Know that we love you, especially you, Cisco.
Yeah, especially.
Know that we especially love you.